He says we're still friends.
He does not.
All right, good night, guys.
Good night, Needle.
Goodbye, Needle.
Okay, we'll do more. We'll do more with her. We'll have more of these. This is a lot less taxing when it's not the Gilbert Gottfried voice every single time. Okay. Okay, chat.
Did you only do the Gilbert Gottfried voice last time?
We did it twice, but they were both like 15-minute segments, and I couldn't talk for like 3 days. So actually, knowing we were doing this tonight, I did all my line recording like hours ago, just in case I lost my voice over this. But we're actually at peak audience right now, 15 people. So, okay, guys. Okay, we have a fanfic about Shining and Cadance and their little baby daughter Flurry Heart. It's a happy story. How do you want me to? What voice do you want me to read that in?
That's a dip. So it's one of those things where people ask you what's your favorite band and suddenly you blank and you forget. So I'm now forgetting every famous voice I've ever heard.
Yeah. Good night, East Coast friends. I'm thinking a South African accent. No, I cannot do Afrikaner.
Yes, do an Afrikaans accent. Actually, no, even better, do my accent.
I don't think you want that.
The one that's sort of partially English, partially English, little bit of the Joburg accent. Joburg, amen. You coming to Joburg now?
I don't think I want to come to Joburg now.
Oh my god, that was horrible. You have to come to Joburg.
Well, it's not my fault that your accent's like an amalgamation of like 8 different things. So
It is. It is a difficult accent. Like, I don't understand why Americans keep insisting on playing South Africans. You guys can't do our accent.
You sound more so very standard English, except for the occasional weird thing. You're not like the guy from all the Blomkamp movies.
Yeah, I slip every now and then. So where my accent comes in is sometimes I'll do the Joburg thing where I'll flatten or I'll just drop half the word off. I'll only say half a word.
Yeah, it's like how English as a language has random like French words in it, like hors d'oeuvres and rendezvous and crap. It's like that, but with accent marks. So every once in a while, you pronounce a word like the Dutch or whatever. Agent Smith, what does that mean? You mean like
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Yeah.
This is the story that we're going to be telling. I can't do.
I guess it's just. I can get more about the cadence of his voice.
I was about to say I can get the cadence down. I can get the cadence of his voice down.
I mean, I love me some Hugo Weaving, but these aren't like cartoony. I hope you guys are okay with that. It's not going to sound too crazy. I might have to wing.
Let's see.
Crystal Empire.
Who was super over the top? Wait. Do your best DWK impression.
Oh, now man, that would be totally legit. That would be awesome. Okay, we'll try this. Okay. So we have reduce, reuse, recycle. That's like totally the name of the article, man, or chapter. The Crystal Empire bustles quietly about in the peaceful summer day, and ponies travel from the business districts to like the Crystal suburbs or whatever else is in the city that's like, either one of those things. And they also do all those places, but that's not the point. To hell with those ponies. We care about 2 very specific ponies. They live in the big-ass castle in the center of the Crystal Empire, and rule it generally, how the fuck they feel, man. They're in charge. So deep within the Crystal Castle of clear quartz lies the princess of the land, Princess Cadance. What does he call her? Princess Candy.
Please.
And she lays with her husband, Prince Shining, Man Candy. By the fireside, they watch the flames flicker and crackle And neither pony was even remotely concerned about, that they were running a fire in a place and, no visible chimney, just a bunch of smoke building up. But, they'd done it before with no casualties, so why not? Who's going to stop them? The princess? Freaking Candy's in charge. So Shining turns his head to his wife and studies her gaze carefully, and his features were all tightened and edges of his mouth were turned down in like serious manner and stuff, and Candy felt his gaze upon her, and as usual between married couples, and turned toward him and looked him in the eye. And funny enough, eye contact was something they did when they first met, and continued to do so quite often. Which is a weird thing to point out, but whatever. Yeah, they look each other in the eye. Whoop-de-doo. Candy, Shining said softly, I kind of want to talk about something. Yeah, what is it? Candy replied, using her mouth to make the words. What's on your mind, Shiny? Shiny broke eye contact and looked down at the floor. He scratched his mane uncomfortably and cleared his throat before speaking once more. I've really been thinking about this whole baby thing. What about it? Candy asked. You never seemed to have a problem with kids before. Well, see, he continued, it's a big scary world out there, and there are like giant monster attacks almost every day, and ponies get hurt and live and grow up in poverty and like never know a decent life, and other ponies are like raised with a silver spoon and never have to know the word no. What are you saying? Candy said. Well, I guess I'm just starting to doubt that we're really the right fit to be parents. Candy leaned back in her sock and in shock, and not too far away there was a fire. And it was more like when you hear something that you didn't expect and you have this moment where you like jump in your seat. And bottom line, she was a little surprised. Why wouldn't we be? Candy said. We're royalty, Candy. I mean, yesterday I had to work 6 whole hours at work. It was terrifying. Candy paused and looked at the ground. I suppose you're right. I did work 5 hours yesterday and then spent the rest of the day playing ping pong with that weird guard with the accent. Was it Alfie? Shiny said, excited. Yeah, it was him, Candy said, equally brimming with excitement. I usually just call him Dude. It's what I call all the guards. Shiny nodded happily in agreement. This is the perfect voice for this. It's written
This is a
way.
perfect voice.
Yeah, Alfie's cool, man. The two stared into the fire for a hot minute. This was because the fire was hot, and they stared at it for a Oh, motherfucker. It's literally written that way. I'm not bullshitting. Oh, my God. God damn it. The two stared at the fire for a hot minute. This was because the fire was hot, and they stared at it for like a minute, man. So, okay, right. So I don't want to be a father, Shiny said. Okay, right. Oh, sure, whatever, Candy replied. Then they stared at the fire for another hot minute. Contrary to popular belief, hot minutes should be handled with the greatest of care to avoid being burned. Wait, Shiny, I think we're already parents, Candy said. Oh shit, you're right, Shiny said. Now what do we do? And then there's like this break in the text, man. Shiny and Candy stand over the cradle of their little demon child, Princess Flurry Heart. They look from each other down at the baby, and Flurry's all flared out with her wings and got her crazy eyes looking everywhere, and they would be large enough to take down a tall building, maybe 2. So they stared up at them with all her love and adoration her grapefruit-sized eyes could give, which was about the volume of 2 grapefruits. Flurry, we need you to move out, man, Shining said firmly. The two stood there, waiting patiently as Flurry proceeded to suck on her hooves. Honey, I think we have a failure to launch, Candy said. Well, I just tried having a serious talk, so now what do we do? Well, what do you think we have? What do you think you do when you have things you don't want? The pink princess pony asked. Shiny scratched his head and paced around the room. Well, ever since we got here, I'm pretty sure I just threw things out the windows, and that usually kept the place tidy. Oh yeah, that's fair. Let's do that then. Shining walks over to Flurry Heart's crib and picks up the baby. Then he walks over to the open balcony. Candy followed behind him because she was still wanting to feel like, like she belonged and she was part of the decision. Shiny held up the baby in his hooves and wound his dominant hoof back to propel the baby forward like a mighty javelin and tried to think of an awesome one-liner. Consider this failure to launch ejected. And he began to throw. Wait! Candy screamed. And then he waited. But I did the line, he said. I know. I realized something. I don't think she can fly, Candy said. But wait, that was your job, I think, Shiny said. Until 5 minutes ago, we forgot we had a baby, Candy replied. Oh, right. So now what do we do? Candy paced the balcony trying to figure out like what the hell they were going to do with the baby. The black market's too sketchy these days, Candy said. Every time I try to find a dealer, they just run away and beg not to be arrested. Well, it's not like we could just give the baby to someone, Shiny said. What if they hurt the baby? Good point, Candy agreed with a nod. That's something that must be avoided at all costs. Shiny walked back inside because it was getting cold out and he didn't have a blanket. When he froze dead in his tracks, he was actually freezing. He wasn't actually freezing. It's just a figure of speech. He immediately saw the answer to their problems. Candy, check this out, he urgently said to his wife. Candy trotted over to him, not because she does what she's told, but because she felt like doing it at the time. What am I looking at? She said, looking at the small rectangular thing in front of them. I think it's a trash can, Shiny said. My mom always told me that's where we put the hoof nail clippings, but I never actually listened. I think ponies usually take what gets put in there and carry it away. Where to? Candy said. The intricate details of the equestrian sanitation system are not common knowledge in the Crystal Empire. I don't know, but it sounds like a load of garbage. But my point is, we could totally put Flurry Heart in there and she'll get carried away to the magical land of waste. Whoa, Candy replied. She'd be like a waste queen. Queen of the wasteland. I want to be a queen, Candy said. I don't think you're trash, though, so you can't. Oh, okay. This is how it's written. We did not plan this voice. This is absolutely perfect. Shining looked down at the baby in the trash can in front of him. He felt like he should say something important and give some, profound statement before sending little Flurry off to her magical journey to discover herself and show the rats who's boss and to survive on all the refuse like the other orphans. See ya, kid. And with that, Shiny tossed Flurry Heart into the trash. She bounced on the rim twice before finally falling in, a loud cry pouring out into the nursery. So how long does it take for her to go? Candy asked. I don't know. Want to go get ice cream? Heck yeah! So the lovely couple left the nursery, proud of what they accomplished today. Damn!
Oh my god.
That worked perfect. That was not intentional at all.
This is the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, I love this series. We gotta do these every week, man.
Oh my god. I'm so glad that this was a thing.